Welcome to this episode. This time I will like to talk to you about honesty in photography. I think there's so much we can learn from the old masters like Henri Cartier-Bresson, and we will dig into what I think about being honest with photography. And we will also look at the latest pictures I have taken over this year in Copenhagen and drag out some examples of simplicity, honesty, and embracing some of the errors we make as photographers, which makes photography interesting and not boring. So welcome, my name is Albek. I'm a professional photographer and I teach at photo workshops around the world, and I hope you will join me on one of those in Paris, Copenhagen, Berlin, Rome, or some of the other places that I will plan in the future. There's already a calendar up for next year, so sign up for that. Also, please sign up for this channel so you get a notification each time a new video is up, and my newsletter, of course, so you can follow what I'm writing about there. And I have been writing about honesty in photography in my latest blog post. There will be a link below for that, and I follow up with a new blog post today about how you can edit honestly without using AI tools. There will be a list of tools that are non-AI supported in Lightroom and Capture One. So why am I talking about that? I'm talking about that because photography is about presenting what is in front of you. It is presenting the life as it happens around us. It is not a artificial edited poster from you can buy in any poster shop or IKEA or wherever you get those posters that looks nice and boring. The old street photographers and photojournalists like Henri Cartier-Bresson was dedicated to show us the world as they saw it within the frame of the camera. So what was put in here on film, or in this case on the digital sensor, is what was captured and it should stay there. So honesty in photography is about presenting it as it is. So if there's some disturbing element in the background and you don't like it, then skip that image and do not do as I often hear some photographers say, well, we can just clone it away in Photoshop. No, yes you can, but you shouldn't, because that's not honest, that's not presenting life as it is. Then it is something else, and something at least I don't like. You may disagree and you can feel free to discuss it, but politely below in the comment section, because there's so much to this. Henri Cartier-Bresson was famous for his honesty in his photography. But what is honesty actually? Honesty is where we point our camera. So if I point it here, I will get that reality. If I point it here, I will get a different reality. And we will all see different realities depending on our culture and how we view the world when we decide to click the shutter button and capture that moment. That changes what we are seeing. A second after, it will be gone. It will be different at least. So honesty in photography is about keeping what was in the frame as you took it. And I'm not kind of rigid to this. It's not like I can't do anything about the image. It is as it is. I have nothing against cropping my image a little bit, straighten it up if I find that suits that kind of photo better than the original decision I took at the moment. And sometimes I just keep it with the flaws, with the errors there are. Talking about flaws and errors and embracing them, then there is in Japan a saying or some words called wabi-sabi. These two words are very Japanese. They're very difficult for Westerners to understand. But one of the key points in that is embracing imperfectness. So if you have something in your picture that is not perfectly aligned or perfectly ordered, you might have a light pole in the edge of the picture you didn't like, then of course you can maybe crop it a little away, but you should never clone it away. It is as it is. Embrace imperfectness, because that's the beauty of photography, that nothing is just perfect. That's why I try to push everything that has to do with AI and photo editing uh, away from my work. I don't like that. I'm not as persistent as Henri Cartier-Bresson maybe was, putting everything in the frame on paper and printed. I may crop my pictures a little bit if I find it shoots it better, but what's in there is in there. So I will not crop anything away just to crop it away. I will only alter my image a little if I feel it is unbalanced to the image I want to present, because everything is about what I want to present for the viewer. So what I'm aiming for is simplicity in photography, staying true to the scene I observe and capture that with that mood I have on that day and with what happens in front of me as being the thing that is captured on camera, on film or digital, and let it stay that way. You can alter your images all kinds of ways digitally. You can lower the highlights, you can lift the shadows, and all of that I think is fine as long as you keep what's in the picture. So I never artificially drag down shadows using a brush tool or anything to put it in the darkness if it wasn't dark in the place where I took it. But if it was dark in the place I took it, then I use the light, the exposure, and the aperture control to dim down the light where I don't want it to be lit up, or I lift it where I need to lift it up, but still staying true to what I see. So it's not about trying to hide things or enhance things that are not there. So it's about enhance what I want you to see as a viewer and not hiding things that couldn't be hidden because they are part of the image. They are part of the reality as I see it. And that's the most important point for me. I want to present things as I see them. So I won't remove anything with any clone tools or any artificial stuff afterwards. I want it to be as clean as possible. And I think in the world today, where everything has to be perfect, we're perfect on Instagram, we are perfect on the pictures we present for each other, it becomes boring. If there's no imperfectness, if there's no truth in there, if there's no life to feel, what's worth the bother? If we have a nice picture of a couple in the park, we have that dramatic light hitting them, then it's what I want to capture. But I don't want to remove in another picture if a guy comes walking in there being part of the picture. I could clone him away. Why should I? It's part of the picture. It's part of the experience. It is part of life. It is what happened, and that's the most important thing for me. So when I edit my pictures in Lightroom mostly afterwards, I keep most things as they are. I might crop a little. I might straighten up a picture a little if I think it is worth it, if it makes sense. And sometimes I'm trying to embrace the character of the picture as it was, looking at Henri Cartier-Bresson, accepting that the vertical lines aren't vertical and the horizontal lines aren't exactly horizontal. Well, who cares if it is a picture with an expression, with life and meaning? Let it stay as it is. Then we can fix all those small errors that every camera have, where the highlights are blown out a little bit too much and it doesn't adjust to what our eye see. I have no regrets about pulling highlights down, lifting shadows a little, adding a little more contrast to give that image a presentation in a style that I prefer. That's fine, but I don't hide things by pulling the shadows down, and I don't pull things out by lifting the highlights so much that they're blown out. And I especially never use clone tools. But there is one exception for the clone tool. If you have dust on your lens, or for some reason dirt on your sensor or dust, then the clone tool can be used to remove these errors. And you can accept it or not, but these are the guidelines, at least at the Danish Press Photographers Association, that you are allowed to clone away digital errors. It could also be a pixel error in your sensor. Those errors are okay to correct, but anything else in the picture should stay in the picture. and it at least should never be something that make the picture present something that isn't real. So if you have some football playing kids and you don't like the third boy in the picture because it unbalanced the photo, then don't remove him. He's part of the picture. He's part of the imperfection. And if you didn't nail it, well, you didn't nail it. And that's the approach I have to photography, trying to be as honest as possible. In these days, where so many things are fraud, where you will, if you look at your reels, even videos, you will see a lot of fake videos that are too good to be true, and that's because they are not true. They are too good to be true, and you will immediately know it if you think just a little bit and look at it. If you have some of these weird situations that are simply out of your mind, then it probably is out of your mind. And that honesty I embrace with using my Leica M9 here, which is a quite simple tool photographically. There's no autofocus. I really love that the manual focusing, and I know the new EVF1 M camera will be discussed as not being an M camera because it doesn't have the rangefinder window, but I'm not a purist about that. I love to have that camera. It's a beautiful camera, and it will maybe enhance the way we can take pictures, because it is sometimes a little bit difficult with this rangefinder system until you get used to it to really nail the focus, especially when you shoot wide open like I do. But still, that will improve the way you can work with that camera. So that's a beauty I hope to have in my hands one day. But when we're talking about honesty, honesty is that there are absolutely no automatic things here that can ruin the picture to be something that it isn't. There's no AI in a camera like this. It is as clean as possible. It has the very simple aperture, shutter speed, ISO settings, and that's basically it. Not totally, of course, but basically it. And I try to keep my photography as simple as that. So very advanced cameras is not for me. I want simplicity. And I want simplicity and honesty in the way I present my pictures as well. So for me, photography is not about creating an alternate reality. It's about preserving the essence of a moment as it was experienced. So nothing that I had in my mind, I then try to change what I see into what I have in my mind. No, it's the opposite way around. What I see is what I put in my mind. So capturing moments really means a lot to me. And Copenhagen is a city where you can embrace this imperfectness in the pictures, because so many things are happening. Of course, you miss a shot here and there, but with my 50mm around Copenhagen, I'm able to capture a lot of moment, keeping myself a little bit at the distance, but at the same time in the moment. So for me, that's the perfect focal length. And at the same time, this focal length also present the reality, which we're talking about today, as close as possible to what the eyes will see when we observe a scene. Some claims 43 is even closer to that, but give and take, 43, 50mm, around that focal length is perfect to have that natural view of the world, and thereby presenting it with reality and honestly. Of course, you can do that with a 33mm as well. You just have a wider scene and a different way of looking at things, which is fine. 28mm as well. What I don't like, personally, that's a personal matter, I don't like telephotos. I don't like 35, 80, 90mm and above that, because it gives me that feeling that I'm standing on a distance, observing something far away, which will not be presented as something that are not looked at with a pair of binoculars. It will look like you're zoomed in on something, and you can feel that when you present the image. Therefore, the 50 or 43mm is ideal to present things honestly and in the reality they are when we are taking up our camera and see what we can capture. And what we can capture is simply, for my sake, I'm not preparing anything when I walk the streets. I'm only preparing my camera with fresh batteries, I'm sure there is an empty SD card in here, in the old camera here. It is actually by taking the bottom off, which I think is lovely. Here's the battery for the M9 in here, and here the SD card I put in here. Just remember, if you have an M9 or want one, then only use these, in this case Leica 16 gigabytes, 95 megabytes a second memory cards, because anything else will often fail, and modern memory cards will simply not work on this older camera. Of course, on the newer ones they will, but not on this old one. Another thing about the old Leica M9 here is that it has taught me, I know some people will say, oh, that's a cliche, but it teaches me to slow down. So I never use it on burst mode. I only shoot one picture at a time, because that learns me to be observant and to pull the trigger, so to speak, to click the button when it's time to do it, not before, not after, not shooting 10 in a row. And that's a personal matter. I prefer trying to capture the moment and be observant. That trains my mind, and I think it is another way of being true to the scene, being much more observant of what is going on, arrange the elements as you want. I'm shooting wide open often, so I have that low depth of field depending on the distance to the subject. Other people like to arrange many things in the picture and shoot with a lower aperture like 16 or 8 to get that rich depth of field, and then you really have to arrange everything in that. Everything is fine. It's just two ways of viewing on photos, and none of them are better or worse than the other. It's just a matter of taste and shooting style, which I teach on my workshops as well, trying to capture the moments as they are and bringing your own style forward so you get more trust in yourself and train your eye to see the moments as they come, as honest as possible, and not thinking about removing anything afterwards. The camera is not a tool for invention, but for interpretation. It's a way to translate light into an image that we will see, and especially light is a very important part of my work with photography. It's something I have studied for many years, because light is the only thing that can bring out a picture on a digital camera or on a film, because light is what is reflected from things, and that is what we see afterwards. Things that are out of the light, in completely darkness or shadow, almost like my shirt here, with the exception of some hairs from my cat, they are exposed very low, and therefore they look dark. And if we take pictures in sharp light like in this autumn, then we can use that light to add drama into the picture. We can narrow in the subjects, or we can shoot up against the light, as long as we just know where the light sources come from, which is something I teach a lot. So my main focus with this little speech is keep things simple. Use your camera as the tool to look through and then capture what you have inside the frame. That's the most important thing. In its core, photography is about seeing, feeling, and expressing. So what we capture is done by the feeling we have when we see it, and what we present is what is captured in the camera, and then other people might see it different than we do ourselves when we take the picture. But mostly I take the pictures for my own joy. It's for my own amusement. It's for my own sake I do it. I'm getting more healthy when I'm photographing. I get more ideas, I get more, and I feel life around me when I take pictures. If I don't take pictures, I feel absent. I don't feel present in the same way as when I have my camera, and see a lot of things when I walk in the streets of Copenhagen that I would not see if I was just walking without a specific aim, or going to the grocery store, buying a new t-shirt or whatever it is. Then I will have my focus on that. But when I bring my camera, my 15mm framing is in my head as I walk around, and I see things in a quite different light, because I'm observing, and this way I know more about life when I have my camera. I have put three links below the video here. Two of them are for the latest articles about capturing moments like I'm talking about here honestly. And the second one is a list of non-AI tools for Capture One and Lightroom, so you can have an idea of which tools to use if you want to follow my idea of being very pure about what you are expressing. And it doesn't mean that you cannot post-edit your pictures to bring forward the best of it. My point is you should be honest with it and also embrace some of those faults, maybe some lines that are not perfectly aligned. All of that will make pictures more honestly, and I think in the world today, with all of the fake news and all of that fake pictures floating around on the internet, it is even more important that we as photographers stay true to ourselves and to the images we take, so we can push this in a different direction. So click the links below and sign up for this channel, and maybe we'll meet in a workshop somewhere out there. Thank you for watching.